All right, live.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Manish Shah. I'm a professor of management at Lake Forest Graduate School in Chicago. This talk will be conducted in a question and answer format. Let me introduce today's holistic inner science expert, Deepak Anandji. Deepak Anandji has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. He has several years' experience working in cement and petrochemical industry. From the early childhood, he had an inclination to be a celibate. He received self-realization through the grace of self-realized holistic scientist Sri M. Patel in 1983. Since then, he has pursued his dream to work selflessly to spread the message of holistic inner science for the upliftment of the entire humankind. He has devoted his entire life studying holistic inner science and visiting rural areas and cities, USA, UK, Canada, UK, Europe, Africa, Australia, and New Zealand to spread the scientific understanding of life through holistic inner science. Welcome, Deepak Anandji.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction.
So, Deepak Anandji, today's topic is linked to happiness. It's about effectively managing relationships using the principles of holistic inner science. I want to start off with a few questions. Maybe I should give you an opportunity to make an introductory remark regarding this topic.
Yes, we must understand that from our childhood itself, from the day we are born, we are conditioned by means of our family, our country, our surrounding, and it really got, I would say, as it is said by a prominent professor of psychology who has written several books, he says every individual is radically conditioned. And due to this conditioning, there is diversity in the human society, and no individual can live alone. So with this diversity, to live together in a family, at a workplace, in any organization, then you've got to have some tools, some understanding that in this diversity, how are you going to live with unity? You as individual have so many various thoughts, various ideas. How will you live with unity with your own self? That also becomes a very important question for one's own existence. And of course, then coexist. So, how can we coexist happily, harmoniously, cordially? That becomes a great challenge. But holistic science has come out with such wonderful tools and right understanding of our very existence and nature that we have all the solutions, like one of the president of America has said, the buck stops here. Same way, the buck stops here at holistic science. It may be too much to say, but this is a fact. The buck truly stops here at holistic science. Thank you.
So the first question, Deepak Anandji, first of all, thank you for the introduction to this topic. The first question is, we need to live harmoniously with our spouse because that's one person we spend most of our time and most of our life with. But in this day and age, every person has their own personal point of view, their opinions, and sometimes these opinions are not harmonious. We may have divergent opinions on things. So what is the prescription? What is the holistic science prescription for living harmoniously with our better half?
Exactly. It is such a wonderful question. And I would also say that this is the burning problem everywhere, every family, every home. And these are the basic unit of our family, husband and wife. Here, the holistic science has primarily given a good understanding the very cause of differences in viewpoints. It says that two individuals cannot occupy space at the same time. And due to this difference in the space that they occupy, that being one of the evidence, major evidence, the people differ in their thinking, in their belief. Now, when such a situation itself is there, where individuals occupy different space and they coexist, nobody is living alone, then they have to learn to manage these difference of opinions because individuals differ along with that opinions also differ because everyone thinks differently and due to this we come across several situations in our life wherein we have to learn to manage these differences and the way you have said how can this basic unit of a family live with harmony, with great intimacy, you can say, but rather be good friends. The only solution is they must understand holistic science. Holistic science means it gives us insight into our basic existence, how we are, what we are, and how our body is living, how we are living. And with that understanding, we can very well say that we have to accept that these differences are bound to be there because we all occupy different space and we live together. So for a cordial coexistence, we must have some solution, and that solution which is given by holistic science is we must resolve to adjust everywhere, adjust with these different viewpoints. And it says, first you must understand the other person's viewpoint, although you have your own. You adjust with the other person's viewpoint. So understand the other person's viewpoint, adjust with the person's viewpoint, and still remain in the center. What does the center means? Remain totally unaffected, remain unified with everyone. So live with unity with everyone. And we can say, but I cannot do it. This doesn't mean to do anything. We must resolve, we must decide that I want to adjust. And this decision, this firm decision itself will make our mind, speech, body machinery work and eventually it will happen. So as this common thing goes, as you decide, it will happen. And if we understand this basic principle of life, because everything that happens in our life is because of some decision which we have made somewhere, sometimes, and that's how things happen. So, in this regards, also, if I decide to adjust everywhere, eventually it is going to happen naturally and effortlessly without any burden of doing, that is, without any burden of really trying to adjust myself. No, the very fact when I adjust, it is going to help me deal with the person, adjust with the person, and that's how unity, harmony will be established. Now, because of this obligation, relations are nothing but obligations of give and take. And we all know that Everyone wants to live as per their desire. So first thing, when we accept them, we accept their viewpoint, because this is the fact of life, that every individual is independent, but socially we all are dependent on each other. This basic aspect of our very existence we must understand and bear in mind, that individually we all are independent, but socially when I am with someone else, I must have this master key of adjustment. And with this adjustment at all, because once I decide to adjust, down the line it is going to happen. And remember, we as husband and wife, you have decided to live together. You got married. People say that marriages take place in heaven. So definitely your marriage also took place in heaven, and you want to be happy. So then when the association is already built, you must have the master key of sustaining that association, and it should be friendly. And we know that friendship survives only by giving. And when you learn to give, naturally you get it back. But if you want, then you must first learn to give. So giving means you adjust from your end. And when you adjust, you're going to get in return naturally and in abundance. So one of the holistic revelation which is done, it says man by his very physique, he can change on the basis of rationality, and can even change if his ego is pacified. If you take care of his ego, he can change. He can change his mind. But this thing is not applicable to women. They don't tend to change that easily. Not that they're wrong, not that they are bad, but that is what their body constitution is. And for that, they are not responsible. They have come with that physique, with that body. So the best way to handle the situation is man must adjust for a long-term cordial association. And there's no problem. Further, it is also said that if we understand and accept our own body machinery trait and of others, man and woman can, husband and wife can easily deal amicably with their own body selves. And of course, at the same time, they can heartily deal with each other in every situation of their life, so that their association will remain forever, even for lifelong. So friendly relations becomes easy when they follow holistic science principles, because they are not principles. It is holistic science has revealed facts of life. You know, husband and wife relation can be very friendly even in most trying situations of life, when they supplement each other's biological nature and temperament, even while pursuing their own professional goals with their own privacy and personal independence. It is possible. So, this is how, when we understand the basics of individual existence of man and woman, husband and wife, then they can easily supplement each other, help each other, and they will exist forever. The relation will exist forever. Okay?
No, that's excellent. So I think the master key, to summarize, is adjusting and pacifying their ego, so to say, and hearing them out while still remaining in the still remaining in the center, as you pointed out.
Exactly, and we must also understand that certain people, they don't change, and we must accept their existence as they are and adjust. There's no problem. There are so many other good qualities those people have. Rather make use of those good qualities. So we accept the other person's whatever physique is there and adjust to the rest. So there is no problem whatsoever. They will live for each other, they will die for each other.
Swamiji, another question. So we have evolved into a society, both Eastern societies and Western societies, where we used to have the man as the breadwinner, and the woman used to stay back home and raise the family, and it was a nice balance. But these days, both husband and wife are working, so they're very busy, and as a result, they have very little time to devote to their families, and especially their kids. So how do we deal with this reality of life while still raise good, productive kids?
True, this is very true because today the life situations itself are such that both parents, while they are pursuing their professional goals, and definitely they have financial need also, that both are compelled to work. And this is a fundamental fact which both of them accept. But there is also one more fact, that mothers can take better care of the children than father. So it is important also that both the parents spend quality time with their kids. Is in mind the fundamental facts and importance of both the parents spending quality time with their kids. We can think of two alternatives, like one may be through, of course, mutual understanding, that now that they have kids, that wife can take up a simpler part-time job during weekdays and full-time during weekends, with which she can personally take care of the kids and without putting them in daycare or babysitting during the weekdays. And husband can continue with his full-time professional job, spending time with the kids during the weekends. And then maybe after a few years when the kid grow, continue with her full-time professional job. And I have seen several examples, come across a few also, and with this adjustment, they have survived. They have really progressed and they were successful. Alternatively, uh, again, with mutual understanding, wife can take a break for a few years, working only maybe during weekends, and husband is full-time working. And it can change that. Okay, I have also seen one place where husband is full-time taking care of the family with the kids and wife is working. Important, the family value, importance of the kids, all that these factors play a vital role. But with this understanding and with the mutual understanding, it is possible. In fact, holistic science has very rudely said, I will say, in a way, that it says that today's parents are uncertified fathers and uncertified mothers. But we are fortunate that we have holistic science, and with this understanding of holistic science, parents can learn to deal with their kids judiciously and nurture them, make them responsible citizens, at the same time, ideal members of the family, ideal members of the society also. And for that, yes, parents need to do certain things, which I can highlight a few, like parents must deal with their kids with an attitude of learning rather than teaching them. Father, while dealing with the kid, understands, so inside he believes that the son is my father and he is his son. So with this compensation, he doesn't cross his limits, he will remain within his boundaries, and now he will respect the kid and he will set an example of an ideal father. Today, the family situation constitution is like a garden, so everyone has a unique personality, and with that unique personality, we must deal with them accordingly. So, understanding the other person's personality, the kid's personality, and when father and mother deals with the kid accordingly, there is no problem. So, relations are like glassware, as it is very well said in holistic science. It, it, it must be taken care nicely. They must understand the skill and nature of the individual kid and deal accordingly. So instead of telling them or forcing them to do something, if you try to make them understand, they're very wise. They're wonderful kids. Today, they understand much, much better. But we have no time, we have no patience to make them understand. We want to just tell them, do this and forget it, which they don't like. So if we can make them understand, it will really work. It is also commonly said that always until the age of 6, treat your child like a king, till 12 age like a prince, and then onwards like a friend. So all these things definitely takes care of handling the kids very nicely. Never beat up your child. Yes, if you need to reprimand them, you must do it for their mistakes, but never hurt their ego. This is very critical. You reprimand them for their mistakes, but you don't attack them. So you have to give lots of love to your kids, at the same time make them understand of their mistakes, making them realize that if you commit this mistake, you are going to get hurt. So with this dealing, you're not hitting their ego. That is very important. Parents must never quarrel in presence of their kids. It's very important because these examples really takes the kids away. The principle of learning goes, as you see, so you learn. So whatever the parents want to tell their children do, probably they must do themselves, set a good ideal example for them. They will learn automatically. I remember I was not instructed several times, but whatever I have seen all my years staying with my parents, I have learned so many things, and it is everyone's experience. So with basic understanding, of course, these understanding do exist everywhere in the form of virtues, guidance for rearing, nurturing kids, and all that. True, but holistic science has brought together the core understanding of our living, and it focuses more on the family. So we must try to take care of the family. The world will be taken care naturally. Thank you.
No, I think well said, Deepakanji. Essentially, it's just being having a more friendly relationship beyond a certain point. And I love what you said earlier is try and reverse roles in your mind. So if you're father of a daughter, you know, treat as if you are the child and your kid is a parent, so that you don't cross the boundaries that you tend to cross as a parent, where you may say something really harsh that could hurt their ego.
Exactly.
So again, talking about this day and age, we see a lot of divorces. I think this issue was already prevalent in the Western societies, but now the Eastern societies are also kind of catching on. So what is your advice in terms of relationships that will help nurture each other in terms of, spouses nurturing each other rather than taking the exit route and say, I don't want to deal with this and leave the relationship?
Exactly. That is very true. It is a good observation. And one of the major causes today is very late marriages. The ideal time for marriage is like 28 to 30 years, but nowadays the marriage age has gone very far away. So, actually, as you age, your adaptability, your adjustability reduces. You tend to draw hard headed conviction on life's several things. You have strong likes and dislikes and don't want to keep yourself flexible. Adjustment becomes very difficult. Why all this? Because you are pursuing your professional goal. You're trying to make a career. But then, where are you going to end? Like, with these things, we have to keep in mind that it is going to affect our personal life. Because at young age, when you are together, you get married at younger age, then you have a lot of time, you have a lot of scope of adjustment. Also, you are with that young age, you have a lot of adaptability, a lot of adaptability, but which reduces as you age out. And that is the reason now both husband and wife, they seek a lot of independence. That factor of dependence on each other, which was there previously, today it is not there. That dependence, emotional dependence, I would say that. Because monetarily, I don't think that they are dependent on each other. But I feel that previously, when wife used to take care of the family at home, husband would go out and earn. So naturally, that dependence was there. So the relations used to survive, family never broke. It was very difficult to even think of that situation. So that was there. But today, the situation is like 50-50. Both are uh, working, both have to manage the home also. But of course, there is one thing, holistic science has wonderful solution. As I said, the buck stops here definitely. And we must hit the target very precisely and understand the importance of family. The reason is, just imagine what happens to the kid. It is like he's his maybe second mother, third father. It is a tragedy for the kid. And we must realize the damage it causes to the kids and definitely to the future generation. He will never have family value unless he sees those family values in his parents. So that's how it is going to help very much. Again, this tool of HSCRF everywhere for peaceful, happy, and cordial coexistence is very important. We must learn to understand the viewpoints. And so, see, the factor of dishonesty plays a very important role in today's life because the lifestyle is such, you end up having such mm, interaction. Of course, these are all professional interaction, but then when they are professionally associated, unwanted interaction take place, and this is where problems start. So we must think of this. We must understand that whatever way I'm working, but my sincerity plays a vital role for my family, for my own self, for my personal growth also. And when I understand the value of family and the future generation, because today's kids are tomorrow's citizens, and if you don't guide them correctly through your own living example, it is going to create a lot of damage. In fact, the situation is definitely very serious, and we must think about it. And I feel if we understand the seriousness of the situation, we will give up our own personal likes and dislikes and be sincere and honest to your life partner.
I think that's well said. I think um, all the diversions and all the attractions outside of your family, because you're interacting in different settings, kind of come into play. And I love what you said earlier about the evolution of the society, where you're not emotionally and financially, I mean, you should be, but you're not emotionally and financially dependent on each other, where the mother used to hold the emotional end of the bargain, and the family, raising the family end of the bargain, and the husband used to earn a living. So there was this nice balance that was going on, where one party was exclusively dependent on the other for those two important aspects, and that doesn't exist anymore. So it's a lot easier to find the exit door when that's the case. So with that, I think I'm going to open the floor up for questions. Please go ahead. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
This is Rajnikant Patel from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm a retired executive and write children's books. One of the things that might find is with our spouses when we try to improve others. Is to normally we always make a comment, done this, you should do this, you should do that, after fact, obviously. And that is why, and you speak to them as if you are the expert on that subject or whatever will happen. So, that is one of the things, if you can dwell on that and say, how can, in a friendly relationship, you can balance it out.
A little distraction was there. Can you just repeat the last part?
Yeah, what I was saying, that in a spouse relations is very intimate, so we try to make sure that the other spouse is getting better, so we give advice, we tell them you should not do this, you should have done that, blah. And of course the other intellect doesn't accept that. So can you dwell on that and see, in a friendship, how can this be taken care of?
See, one thing, what I understand, the very fact that we feel the other person is lacking something, that is where we tend to go wrong. The reason is everyone now is so much independent, and they have a feeling that I know something, I'm complete. And especially we can feel that they feel I don't need your advice at all. Don't tell me what I should do. I know what I'm doing, and there's no need. But that's how you can express your understanding or feelings or convey yourself by setting an example for your own self, that uh, you try to tell a kind of story, not to attack the person straight away, that this is what is wrong with you and this is how you need to change. So it's how one thing is there, that when we are dealing heartily, then that heart factor brings such a lot of changes in our dealing that we are quite cordial in our interaction. And in any of these interactions, we must focus that we are not hurting the other person's ego. Especially today with this academic achievement, both the people, husband and wife, both are professionally good. So they have a level of ego also. So this factor cannot be ignored. So always you can share your experience, and that's how you can convey your message. This is what I feel. That's how it should be. Because trying to tell that you lack something and this is what you must understand, finish. You don't teach me. That's what the ex- uh, response would be. And nobody likes anyone telling anything. So we should try to express our experience, pass on our experience. This is what it is. And I feel that should work very well. So instead of telling, you must ask. And in that conversation itself, while asking, so many things will come out. So it is like when I explain, when someone asks me, that itself is a great lesson for me and it will change. You understand?
Yes, yes.
Because
I think
I'm doing something against what I am saying. So that itself will bring a change in me.
yes.
I hope you got this.
Yeah, you said it rightly that instead of telling, if we asked, then the situation will really become good. Yeah. I have another question. You alluded earlier that independence is more these days.
I
Between husband and wife because they work. But if I look at my old days, my younger days, my parents, my mother used to help out in business also, but some decisions on business and all that, buying and selling, was my father, my mother. The most of the time, mother imparted most of the culture. So that was the age. Now with this independence, it's very difficult generation to be imparting or have a distinction between those different areas. So what's the best way to run a family today?
what is it?
What's the best way to run the family today? Because husband and wife are working, they're independent mind. They want to, husband wants to train the child this way, wife wants to train the child this way. Want something, if the father says no, then she'll go to mother and get it done. So what's the best way to handle this kind of situations?
First thing is when one of the parents is telling something, the other parent should never negate in front of the child. It is very important because if the child knows that my parents, they are not united, then that itself is a very bad impression on the children. So they must feel that they both are together, they both are one in their mind, and that's how they are dealing. And whatever you have to say, you can talk it over afterwards, and that's how you communicate. Did you get this?
Yes, yes, yes.
Parents should not differ in front of their children. They should not contradict each other anytime. That is a very bad situation for the child because then the child will easily take advantage of the situation and they will get their things done very nicely, which should not happen. It should not happen. So that's how it should be.
I have a question, Deepakanji.
Yes.
So our kids are growing up, and at some stage in their life, they're going to choose a life partner.
Right.
So, of course, they're going to do that independently. But if there were a couple of pieces of advice you want to give parents, what are those pieces of advice?
See, there is one thing, human society is very wide, is very diverse. The understanding differs from place to place, country to country, religion to religion. It is totally different. Number one, these differences are there. Number two, marriage doesn't mean the marriage is between the man and a woman, a boy and a girl. No, the marriage is between families. So, also, the kind of upbringing, the way you are brought up, if that is totally different from the other partner, then there is always be a conflict. Conflict of interest will always be there, which is not good for the kid because some commonness should be there. One person has said very nicely that the DNA should match. If the DNA are very diverse, then the product DNA is going to create a big explosion because some kind of mutation which is going to take place, and the third product of these two would be terrible. We don't know positive or negative, but then we can see the kind of society that is coming up. And I have come across several families, marriages did take place from different beliefs, and after 15 years, after 20 years, of course, they are continuing, but they are facing a lot of problems. They are saying that it would have been better if I would have married in my common belief family. It is very important. It is very important. So, looking at that, we must always think that marriage is just not between two individuals, but it is between two beliefs. And those two beliefs, if they are very diverse, then it is going to create a lot of problems. Because the man doesn't fit into the girl's family, the boy doesn't fit into the girl's family, the girl doesn't fit into the boy's family. So they end up living husband and wife. But then what? That's all your life? No, it's not like that. Because, see, it's like the rearing that a child gets is not simply from husband and wife, that is father and mother. It is from the rest of the family members also, from the society, I would say. And if that is not appropriate, there are problems. And they must not just think about themselves only. And imagine also, there is also one more thing needs to be over here, that this is a kind of that comes up because of something I would say unwanted or how to explain that, but I will say that this is because these unwanted interactions, other than formal interactions, because we are professionally now out. Us boys and girls are both are out now. And there are so many interactions that take place. And due to such closeness at times, the relations build up and they end up having an association like this. And that is where initially everything goes fine, but then in the long term, it creates a lot of problems. So in the long term, if you see at the long term benefit, then it is like, to take a very bad example, I will say that if someone is buying a powerful horse, then they check the uh, history of the biological history of the horse from almost 4 to 7 generations. Then they know that, okay, this horse is perfect. I want to buy, I want to use it for this. It's not that. And those things are available, they have their traits. So this all matters. And if we are humans, if for horse we have to take care so much, then humans, they have to be like that. And in fact, if you really see that if you want to maintain the generation culture and all that, then they must marry in the same caste, in the same surrounding, same belief structure. Otherwise, they can get into big trouble.
Yeah. Good advice.
And also, one more thing I would say, if you are right, then you will not have any resistance from any area, any individual. If your beginning itself has too many resistances here and there, then we must understand when the beginning is so bad, the end, I don't think so, is going to be good. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like even someone decides, let's say someone decides to marry a very like a cross marriage, you can say. Then both the parties are in trouble. The boy's side family and the girl's side family both are confused. How can you do that? So that itself is an indication, but because of the insistence of the boy and the girl, then there are situations where the parents have to give up. And finally, they end up giving permission for marriage. But then those things, there are many possible failures are there, and we don't want to do that. And even if they succeed, what is the nature of offspring, of those DNA? It is very important. You must maintain that DNA term culture.
Okay. Do we have any more questions from the audience?
Yeah, I have one more question. And Deepakananji, earlier you dwelled on beliefs, but beliefs are, very wide and apart many times. Just like one spouse like this color, other spouse like this color. One spouse wants to go to this restaurant, one wants to go this. One feel cold, one feel whole. So those beliefs, diversity is always going to be there.
See, differences in beliefs, differences in viewpoints are bound to be there.
Yes.
I think he dropped off for whatever reason.
Yeah, connection. I had problem earlier too to get connected.
So let's give him a minute or two.
I'm sending him an invite again.
Yeah.
Invite, you can summarize if you want to, Manish Bhai.
Sure. So I think Deepakananji is back.
Yes. Okay, got it. So, with the question, please.
Yeah, we were talking about diversified the beliefs.
Yeah, so See, this difference of beliefs are bound to be there. But when you know that I have to exist and be together, then the only way is adjustment. And you know that I value the association, family relation is more informal, more heart-wise, I'm connected, not head-wise. So I'm willing to give up. And then only my relation, my association will survive. So when I value the importance of my association and not my personal likes and dislikes, it is very easy because you see, if you observe, if you take examples of any successful marriage, any successful family, you will definitely find so many ups and downs. They do come across serious situations in life wherein the things were really going out of the way, but one gave up, and that's how the family survives. So it is very important at times, and always there is also a solution. It is said that time is the best solution. Whatever you want, it will happen, but maybe the nature wants this particular thing to happen now. So keep in mind what you want, and it will happen.
That reminds me one more question. You said give up. What's
Yeah,
the difference between give up or tolerate?
I didn't get what is it?
What is the difference between giving up and tolerating it?
No, 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 no. Giving up me what it means. Tolerating is more like you are just bearing, and when your bearing capacity goes, you are going to blow up.
Yeah.
And giving up, you are giving up with right understanding, acceptance, with your conviction that no, my relation is more important, more vital for me, so I'm letting it go. Bearing, tolerating a while, but then when the limit crosses, when you cross the yielding point, then what? Then you're going to blow up. Then it is going to be a big explosion. So that's not the right thing. With right understanding and conviction, if you give up, you let go, that is going to give you positive results.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
You will never blow up. You will never blow up in that situation. But if you are tolerating, oh no, a time will come when you will cross that limit, and then you say, I can't take it anymore. That's it. Boom.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
I think this brings us to the end of this call. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you Deepak Anandji for shedding light on holistic principles as they relate to personal and family relationships. Our next call is going to be third Sunday of January, which is January 21st. Happy New Year to everyone in advance. And Deepak Anandji, any final comments you want to deliver before we call it?
I believe that we have such a wonderful science, and this holistic science is at the core of our existence. And what is revealed by the holistic science, it is going to help us a lot, and we must value our existence and especially our family, take care of our own self, take care of the family, what I mean, husband, wife, and the kids. If the home front is taken care, the world will naturally be taken care. So we must put all our efforts on our family front. It is very important. Come what may, we cannot break. We cannot give up. So never quit. Never quit, because it has a lot of repercussions on so many people, especially our own family, our own kids. And imagine how it is going to reflect their future, their life. And we cannot play around with anybody's life like that. So that's how the way our life is important, we must understand that the other person's life and the family people life is equally important. That's why it is said that when I deal with my family, I am dealing with myself. And when I deal with my family as if I'm dealing with myself, then I don't need to love them, but I will be loving them naturally. And then the way I give up and adjust to myself very easily, effortlessly, I won't have any difficulty dealing with them.
Okay.
So, as the holistic science says, the finality is we become of one heart with everyone, and it starts from our family, and that's where our world also ends in the family only. So, if we take care of our family, we're done. The whole world is taken care. Thank you so much, Dr. Manish, Rajni, and Dr. Vinod Bansal, and of course, Kaushal Bhai. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Deepakananji. Good night to everybody in India, and have a great day to people in US.
Have a great day. Thank you so much.